All right. Happy Friday, everybody. Listen, glad to have you on. Excited that you're here. I just want to go ahead and let everybody know what this is. Back before, right at the time everybody was getting out for this COVID, these things that are going on in our world, me and Coach Myra Miles decided to do this Coach's Corner Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Am I coming in okay, Anthony? Iffy.
It's iffy. It's like in and out. It's like when you move, you might have to just sit still.
Okay. Coach Myra Miles, can you come on and do our introduction? I don't want to mess this up.
Oh, absolutely. Hey, I'm honored. Coach John Mothershed is and always has been one of my favorite people. He is one of the most positive and uplifting guys that you'll ever meet. He's going to share with you a little bit about just be you today. I think that's what Brent has said he's going to do. And you're going to really enjoy this. He has encountered some tough times in coaching and personal. But let me tell you something. After you hear him speak, you will walk away knowing that he's one of the most inspirational, positive, and loving and giving men that you have ever listened to. So, Coach, when Brent told me you were our guy today, I was so thrilled. So thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you, Myra. I appreciate it. And Brent, I don't know what happened, but all of a sudden when you went off, a very attractive picture popped up, and I know it wasn't you, dude. Okay, so if you want to, you can flip back. No, I'm just messing with you, guys. Guys, how y'all doing? My name is John Mothershed. Very, very dear friends with Myra. And also Brent Palmer is definitely my brother. You know, one of my favorite quotes comes out of a movie, let's say, it said, you know, when Wyatt Earp and Doc Holliday, and they made a comment one time, they told Doc Holliday, they said, "Why are you doing this?" And he said, "Because Wyatt Earp is my friend." He said, "Well, I got plenty of friends." He said, "I don't." And guys, that's kind of how I feel. And Brent Palmer is definitely one of my deepest and one of my few dear, dear friends. And I am grateful to have his friendship. And in fact, guys, I want to give you, Brent knows me. I kind of jump all over the place. So y'all just have to try and hang on if you can. But I want to tell you about the person, Brent Palmer. I know y'all know he's a great leader, he's a great motivator and great things like this. But let me tell you something personal. There's a reason I'm sitting here. Is if you can see, I did it on purpose, Brent. Can y'all see the tree? Thumbs up, guys, because I know y'all are on mute. Thumbs up. Can you see the tree? The morning after my son died 4.5 years ago. The morning after my son died, that tree is in my front yard, delivered by Brent Palmer. And it's been sitting right there. And every morning I sit in this same space, I drink my coffee, and I've got the reminder of my son. Now, this is not going to be one of these emotional calls, okay? And this is not for pity, because I don't have pity, okay? Because my son was an amazing young man, and I treasure the years I had. But that's the kind of friend Brent Palmer is. That's who you have as a leader, is someone that will think about that. And Brent, that's what makes you so special. Now, I'll kind of get into that into my call. Guys, my call today, Brent called me yesterday and said, "Look, Myra and I would like for you to speak about just being you. Just be John Mothershed." And in typical John Mothershed style, okay, I had to show up today on a Friday, Brent in my game shirt. Hold on a minute. Okay. Since it's Friday, guys, Brent Palmer, this is the image he saw when I was pounding that head when he was coaching at Central. You know, so I wanted to do this for Brent, just to kind of put that little shiver back in him just for fun and games. But Brent, you remember those days, right? Thumbs up, brother. All right, I love you, man. I love you. Guys, I've had a very interesting career, I was very blessed to work at the same high school for 28 years. I got to raise my family there. I've made some great friends. A little school up in North Alabama called Dessler that I spent 28 years at, and was very blessed that I did not have to work a single day in my career. I loved every bit of it. I loved teaching. I was a history teacher, and I enveloped it. I loved it. My theory on teaching history was the kids in that classroom are just as important as those kids on the practice field. So I gave my same passion and effort to those kids, because just because they weren't athletes did not mean they were any less, or just because you were an athlete did not mean you were any more. You deserved all I had. So I gave the same effort in the classroom as I did it on the field, and I loved that. It was passion, and I had a great career. I'll never forget my first year I took over as head coach. Now, guys, I took over for a legend. Okay, Brent knows a guy named Tandy Gerald, and I know Myra knows a guy named Tandy Gerald. If you're interested in who this guy is named Tandy Gerald, I will invite you to watch the movie Woodlawn. It's about Woodlawn High School down in Birmingham during the integration period, and it's about my mentor, Tandy Gerald. He was the head coach there during that. So if you've never watched that movie, Woodlawn is a great movie to watch, very spiritual movie. Tandy was one of the most influential mentors I ever had. He was very spiritual. He was a father figure to a lot of young men, and he was a legend. I mean, won state championships, set records, kind of evolved football in North Alabama. So this is the guy that I took over for. So I figured I had to pattern myself after him. I had to be Tandy. So everything that I did those first couple of games was to try and do what Tandy would do. What would Tandy do? Guys, we were 0-3 at a team that expected to win a state championship every year. This young new coach is 0-3. Things aren't going well. And then I had kind of a come to Jesus meeting with myself. And it was, look, if I'm going to do this, I got to quit trying to be somebody I'm not and just be John. John has passion. John's aggressive. John is very in-your-face kind of coaching. That's me. And I'm the kind of coach, or was the kind of coach, that felt like I'm going to treat your kid like he's my kid. And that means when he needs loving and praise, he's going to get loving and praise. When he needs a kick in the butt, he's going to get a kick in the butt. When he needs scolding, he's going to get scolded. And when I had my meeting with my parents, I would tell them straight up, look, I promise you this, good and bad, I'm going to treat your son like he's my kid. I've got to be John. Guys, you could see the whole thing start turning around, because although I took the pattern of Tandy and the system of Tandy, I put John Mothershed personality to it and quit trying to be somebody that I wasn't. And things started getting better. Had a very successful career, hired some great coaches. My coaches now are all over the place right now. They're either head coaches, they're athletic directors, superintendents, principal. So I hired good people. But then after 28 years, it was time for me to retire. So I retired and really had no clue what I was going to do. And I got a call from a friend of mine named Leo Wright in Birmingham, Alabama. And Leo said he wanted me to sell weight equipment. And I said, Leo, I'm not a salesperson. He said, that's why I want to hire you, because you're not a salesperson. He said, you're John. You're a coach. Just be you. So I sold weight equipment, built weight room for a couple of years. And then, guys, this is the strangest thing. I got a phone call, wanted to know if I wanted to apply for a area manager position. I said, okay, tell me what it's about. They said, you're going to manage people. You'll have 70 sales teams. You manage people, hold them accountable, teach them a process, praise them, chew them, hire them, fire them. And I said, oh, okay. You want me to be head coach? You want me to be a head coach? You want me to be an athletic director? And they said, it's exactly what we want. And I said, why are you interested in me? They said, because you ran the same system 28 years and where you're from, you never changed. Why? And I said, because it's not good to chase shiny objects. If what you're doing is not working, it may be that you're not doing it correctly more than it's not working. So unless you're doing it correctly, then you can't judge whether it's working or not, because you're not doing it correctly. So instead of putting my passion into trying to figure out ways to do things, I put my passion in doing things correctly. And it usually works. So they hired me. Guys, the funniest thing, and this is, hey, hand up, the funniest thing is the industry I was hired at managing people in was the cemetery business. Yeah. Let that sink in, right? The cemetery business, from head football coach, weight room salesman, to running sales teams in cemeteries. Very, very big change, guys. And you talk about a culture, a steep learning curve. That's a different industry, but it's an industry still run by people. It's still run by people. And they didn't hire me to sell cemetery property. They didn't hire me to sell pre-need. Stonemore Partners hired me to manage people, something I'd been doing my whole career. And I said, okay, well, guys, it didn't take long. First year in there, I told my boss, I said, look, my first thing is I've got to do a lot of traveling because I've got to get to know my people. I can't get to know them on the telephone. I can't build a relationship with them, you know, on phone calls and things. I said, I have to go visit people and get to know them, learn about the people, not about the industry, about the people, because every great coach knows his players. And guys, I'm going to be honest with you, instead of adapting myself to a brand new industry, I decided to adapt the industry to my comfort zone, which is coaching. Even to the point, guys, I've got people from Memphis to Puerto Rico, and they're calling me coach. Well, my boss came to me one day and said, look, John, I really don't know if I'm comfortable with them calling you coach. You know, so I just don't know. And I said, well, why would they not call me coach? That's what I am. I can't be somebody I'm not. I am a coach. It's just a different industry I'm coaching people in, because people to be coached, guys, it's not about the game. It's about people. You motivate, you inspire, you chew, you direct, you teach a process. I don't care what it is, it's still coaching. And it's getting people to do things a lot of times that they don't want to do themselves, and you've got to inspire them to do it. So we're rolling along. They're calling me coach. Everything's good. She says, now I need you to speak at a conference. And I said, okay. In typical John Mothershed, I spoke at a conference about an industry I knew nothing about yet. And I said, what do you want me to speak on? She said, motivation through communication. I got it. I said, but you're probably not going to like the first statement I'm going to make, because this is a sales, guys. You talk about a heavy sales industry, right? I mean, there's 7 figures that they talk about daily, like we talk about a cup of coffee. So the first thing, I've got this big crowd, and I've got my boss in there, and my boss's boss, and then her boss's boss's boss. They're all sitting there wanting to hear what I've got to say. And the first thing I said was, guys, I want you to understand something. My philosophy is this: never look at the scoreboard. And my boss's mouth dropped. It's like, oh, what's he fixing to say? I said, guys, here's our thing. I taught my players all the time, never look at the scoreboard, because actually you have no effect on the scoreboard at all. People that worry about the scoreboard are worrying about something they're not in control of. And my philosophy has always been, control what you can control. You can't control the scoreboard. You can control the process that leads to the score. You can't control it. Y'all have seen it everywhere. When you're watching a team play and they're far behind, panic hits the team and they start doing things differently, trying to win instead of just doing what they're supposed to do, and it usually falls apart. I've seen it happen. Or what about this? You're rolling along, things are going great, you're winning, you look at the scoreboard, you're up by 3 or 4 touchdowns, and you change how you play. That's not right. So my philosophy always was in high school is don't look at the scoreboard, focus on what you control, which is what's in front of you. Control what you can control. Control the process that affects the scoreboard so that the scoreboard doesn't affect your process. I don't know if that made sense to any of you or not, but guys, that's the key. That's the key to anything. Well, my boss is like, oh, I don't know how this is going to go over because they're sales driven. And I said, no, don't worry about it. It will work. And it has worked. They've kind of adapted that's it. Control what you can control. Because guys, when Brent and Myra asked me to speak, And they said what it was, you're always you. You're who you are. I said, guys, I'm fine with that, but I don't want anyone to misunderstand something. Even though you have to be your own personality, you have to be who you are, does not mean you do not have to evolve. It does not mean you don't have to evolve. Okay? Evolution is the key to success. As times change, successful people learn how to adapt to the new way of doing things. It doesn't mean they change their base. It doesn't mean they change their core. It does mean that they have to adapt. You look at the great coaches. The great coaches are the coaches that are able to take the game of football and adapt into the new trends, but yet they still keep their base, blocking, tackling, execution. But you have to evolve. So, we're starting off saying, just be you. Yes, you have to be just your personality, but it doesn't mean you don't have to learn and you don't have to evolve. And so now I'm telling my people, and I'm teaching them every week because I've evolved it into a classroom. I teach my people through a classroom. I've set it up with the old board in the back, a black clock up top with a white face like we all had when we were back in school. So these people from California are getting on here to listen to a coach in a classroom talk about the process in the death care industry. Okay, that's kind of a funny twist, but it's just what it is. But I told them this. I said, guys, listen, we're going to put a coaching philosophy to this. Here's what I want you to do. And in speaking, guys, I know this is really not supposed to be like a coaching point and all those kind of things, but I can't help but do it, is when you're focusing on people, whether it be in your personal life, whether it be in your business life, whether it be in your industry, multi-level marketing industry, whatever it is, don't take the focus off of the person sitting in front of you. Focus on them. Don't let distractions take you away from them. Because the greatest fires, the greatest bonfires in the world, the greatest anything, the greatest movement, Jesus sent people out and sent them out by twos, okay? He didn't send out a whole herd of people at one time. He sent them out by two because the greatest things that have changed the entire world have been done with small steps into something bigger, okay? So focus on the person in front of you. My theory is this: control what you can control and aim at one. Aim at one. Last story, and I'm done, Brent. When I was a young child, I went out hunting with my granddaddy. And when I was out hunting, we were out dove hunting. Granddaddy was knocking them out of the sky. I was shooting just as much as he was, but I didn't hit a thing. And I said, I don't understand. I don't understand. How am I not shooting them? You got all these doves. How am I not hitting a bird? He said, because you're aiming at all of them instead of aiming at one. Guys, in life, don't aim at everything. Pick out one thing, aim at it. Once you control that, then move on to the next one. Okay? And keep your same core personality. Just be who you are. Brent, thank you, brother. I hope that's not too long. You know me, I could have gone on for another hour, brother. Hey, but I appreciate you. I love you. I'll tell that in front of everybody. And guys, there it is. That's Brent Palmer. And that's all I'm going to say. Brent, thank you, brother.
Coach, thank you so much.
Thank you, John.
Thank you so much, Coach. That's kind of mic drop. That's it. I love you too. And, I think the lesson is we all have the ability to just be ourselves. Go out there and affect the world by being ourselves, okay? Make a difference. Coach, thank you. Awesome, awesome, awesome. That was perfect. Have a great Friday. Love you guys.
Thanks, guys. Thank you, John. It was awesome.